What's up, guys? Welcome to the episode number 6 of Discipline and Legacy. I got my man Eric Crutchfield here. This guy's ready to drop some bombs today. He's got an amazing story. I've followed you for a while. I've seen a lot of your content, and we talked a little bit outside, and I know the background because we come from a similar background. So, he's a big developer here in Miami, also a big developer in Houston.
Yep, Dallas, Texas.
Okay, Dallas.
Yep.
And he's got an amazing story. So we'll just go ahead and start off with basically. I know you're in a position now where you're doing very well for yourself, but there was some times in your life where getting to that point was, there was some adversity. So
definitely.
Let's start there. Let's go back and just hear a little bit of your story from your younger years and how you came up.
Yeah, man. Appreciate you having me, Johnny. Discipline and Legacy. I love the name. I definitely want to leave a legacy, Crutchfield. So that's a big part about everything that I do, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then discipline. You got to have discipline in order to leave a legacy. You got to do what you say you're going to do. And that's very, very important. So I love the name of your podcast. But yeah, going back, I said it on a bunch of podcasts. Wild kid growing up, broken family, father remarried multiple times, mother remarried multiple times. I was kind of looking to gain attention maybe from somebody, or I wasn't getting enough attention, so I started rebelling, acting crazy, got kicked out of school, got kicked out of my house, went to live with the other parent, didn't like that, ended up going back and forth, hanging out with a bunch of friends, and my friends really turned into my family. And I was just, continuing to grow, get older. I think I moved out right at 17, got my own place, and started hanging out with the wrong dudes, man.
Yeah.
And that's when things went towards, more drug dealing, streets, partying, drinking, drugs, all that type of stuff. So, yeah, definitely a lot of adversity during those times, because obviously you're not going to bring a lot of good things to you when you're in the streets. So ended up in prison on a 10-year prison sentence when I was about 27. So I was in the streets selling drugs, doing stupid stuff, clubbing from probably 17 to 27, 10 years, wasting my life. Got locked up at 27, got a 10-year prison bid, did 7.5 years, got out at 35. And yeah, it changed my life. And that's when I really dove into real estate. And real estate development got me on the right track. I don't even like to drink anymore. I don't do anything. So, and yeah, here we are.
Nice. So
kind of a little rundown of it.
Yeah. No. So would you say that that time of your life kind of molded you? I mean, obviously when you come from the streets and it's been pretty prevalent in a lot of the guests that we've had here that you kind of take that street mindset or that ideology that we, it's just, you learn, I tell my son, asks me, he's like, how do you know how to do inches and quarters and halves? I'm like, well, you really want to know the truth. I mean, it's from selling weed or, whatever. Right. So, and that's, I took that same mindset from the streets, and even just using half of that, and turning it towards good, that's what made me, I think, so successful.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of, drug dealers, hustlers are actually very, very smart business people if they can just apply that hustle to something positive and something legal. And that's exactly what I did. I took that hustler mentality that I always used to have, which, I always had money. I was just getting it illegally, to now hustling legally in real estate. And so that's why I've been, crazy successful, because I was already successful illegally.
Yeah.
So now I'm just successful legally, which is way better, and you can make so much more money. So anybody out there in the streets or selling drugs, man, I'm telling you, get on the right track. Put that energy into something positive, man. It's going to change your life. You'll never make more money legally than you could illegally. I don't care if you're making $1 million, $2 million a year. I mean, I can make $2 million on one house that I built. So I'm telling you right now, from my personal point of view, get out the streets and do it legally. It's a way better feeling.
Well, I think even too, one thing I learned from was you can make a lot of money, you know, from the streets, but how long?
Right? But it's like,
what happens
is it even a lot of money though? Like, you know what I mean? For the work and to be able to make a lot of money in the streets is like, okay, you're moving like big kilos, lots of them, and you're risking major time, life sentences, stuff like that. In order to make the amount of money that I make legally now, you have to be like a huge kingpin. You know what I mean?
And how long is it going to last?
Yeah, exactly. How long is that going to last? And then not only do you have to watch out for the cops, you got to watch out for the cartels, you got to watch out for the jack boys, you got to watch out for everybody, you know, because you're doing it illegally. So that just bust your door in, snatch all your money anyway. So it's just, yeah. How many, you know, big kingpins is there, you know? Most of everybody's like a little small time hustler, like just making like 50K, 60K, 100K, whatever it is, right? And that's why I'm saying, like, you can make that through real estate development so much easier without half the stress. You don't got to worry about nothing. Now cops get behind me and I'm like, all right, pull me over. I don't care. I drive around with no license tag on a fucking multi-million-dollar car. I don't even give a fuck. You know what I mean? Pull me over. All right, here's my insurance. Here's whatever, right? Write me a ticket. Like, I know I'm not doing nothing illegal besides not having a tag on, but come on. All the crazy shit I've done in my life, like riding around with no tag, like, you think I give a shit about that? So
that's awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
But, and then, you know, like I was saying, the how long would any of that last? But also what happens in the darkness eventually comes to the light. So there's
exactly.
And even when you come into like legal businesses, right? So I've learned that just doing right by people, doing the right thing in business, saying what you mean and meaning what you say, showing up on time, answering the phone. I mean, that alone, you look like a genius to certain people because of what's out there. I'm sure you deal with it too in the industry. So
that's why I try to tell people. I'm like, dude, it's not that hard. Just do what you say you're gonna do, and act with integrity, and be a man of your word, and show up. Just show up, right? I mean,
or if you're late,
you'll beat 90% of the fucking people out there because they suck. They suck at business. They suck at just being a human, a decent human being. So, and I think that's another reason why I'm, you know, crazy successful is because I'm a good person. You know, I'm not out here trying to fuck nobody over. Like, I actually like genuinely care about my students. I care about my builds. Like, I care about the buyers of my homes. Like, I want to take care of these people. You know, I don't want to just give them a shit product and then, you know, don't talk to me anymore. 100%. They can all call me. Yo, call me. My students, call me, text me. What's the issue? What's this? What's that? You know, so, and that's why I think that it has helped me a lot because I am a genuine person and I do care. So, yeah,
it goes a long way.
Right.
Definitely goes a long way. Just doing the right thing, being being a good person, good human being.
Right.
Where I just recently was dealing with somebody in business, and you know, this guy's name is all over town. Like, it's big real estate developer, and realtor in the commercial side, and you would think that, like, you know, from seeing his name all over, he's a really great dude. This guy's going, you know, places, and man, then you hear the stories. You're like, well, you don't want to work for that guy. He doesn't pay his bills, and it goes around word of mouth, especially in the construction industry in an area. You know, and that'll ruin somebody's career.
It does. And don't get me wrong, like, it is super prevalent in the construction industry, and there's a lot of shitty contractors.
Yeah.
And you could probably find contractors that'll tell you that I haven't paid them either. But what they won't tell you is
why
they did a shitty work. Yeah, exactly. Why they did a 100%. Shitty work. They took double the time they're supposed to. You know, they didn't show up on time when they said they're going to. They didn't go by the contract. So, I mean, I got contractors right now hitting me, hey, where's my money? I'm like, well, where were you whenever I needed this house done fucking on the 6th of last month? And it's the 6th of the next month, and it's still not done.
Somebody else
and I just paid $20,000 in mortgage to carry this home for 1 month because I'm waiting on you. Where, you know? So that's what a lot of people don't understand. There's always two sides to every story. So
100%. Yeah, no, I agree. But doing right by people, you know, obviously if they do what they're supposed to do, just paying your bills, just treating them, you know, the way that anybody would want to be treated
Yeah,
as
exactly.
as a subcontractor. You know, it goes a long way too. And then you build relationships. There's guys that I deal with now that I don't even get bids from anybody else. You know, it's like,
Yeah.
yo, need you in here.
And you gotta be careful with that too, because
you got to keep them honest.
Exactly. That's what they do. They what is it, bait and switch or whatever.
Yep.
So they'll bait you in with a low price. They'll do that first couple homes. Next thing you know, you're on your 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th home with them, and you're like, damn, this is getting kind of high. You know, I used to pay $20K for painting. Now it's like 35. And then you start getting other bids, and then the bids are coming in at like 22, 23, and you're like, bro, what's going on? So they start jacking up that price later on, but you got to be careful. That's why I tell all my students always to get any line item over $5,000. We need 3 bids minimum, right? So even if you have, you know, your go-to contractor, still get 2 or 3 bids on top of that just to make sure his price is in line, and also to negotiate him down.
Yeah.
Because once you get that other paper, you know, that says 20K and he's at 25, now I can be like, wait, look, like your competition's at 20. Why are you at 25?
Yeah.
You know, come down to 22 or come down to 20 and match them. And then that's going to help you build your home more cost effective, which is going to increase your profits. So
Sometimes you don't always want to go with the cheapest guy. though,
yeah,
either.
exactly. We can talk about that too. Don't go with the cheapest guy, especially the ones that ask for money up front. Don't go with them. I don't care if it's 50% up front or nothing. Don't go with the guy that's ready to start tomorrow. Don't go with him. You want the guy that has a schedule and he's probably 2-3 weeks booked out, because all the builders, everybody's using him, right? That means he's good. Don't go with the guy that won't give you addresses of previous builds that they worked on or previous work that they worked on so you can go check out. Don't go with the guy that's not going to give you referrals. Like, hey, call my previous customer, call this guy, call that guy. Make sure you vet your contractor correctly. Don't always go with the cheap one.
100%. Now, your background when you were growing up in industry, did you have a construction background prior to getting into the construction industry?
Nope. Like I said, I was crazy, you know. I graduated high school barely, and then got my own apartment, and then I acted crazy in the streets, clubbing, partying for 10 years. Then I ended up in prison. Like, all I did was like work out. I think I like had a personal training job just so I looked normal and didn't look like I was selling drugs my whole life. But even that, I wasn't really there, you know. I was just kind of, it was a facade. But I had 0 construction. Nobody in my family did construction. Nobody I knew did construction. I didn't know anything about construction. I still,
That's powerful.
I still don't know how to.
But you learn, right?
But I've built
Yeah.
over $100 million worth of homes, but I still, couldn't tape and texture this wall.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
My background is the horizontal work, the dirt work, and
Yeah.
everything that went with it. Since I was 17 years old, that's all I've ever done. It's all I've ever known. So, moving into the vertical construction side now, like I don't tell everybody this, but obviously, like the guys that are, I'm subbing and I have help with management on that stuff as well. But like, man, I know dirt. Like I don't know the rebar and the placement and it's okay to not know, like you said,
exactly. And that's what's so cool about development and construction is we're not the ones out there doing it. We're hiring, usually the Hispanic population that is doing most of the work because they've been doing it for years and years and years and years.
Mm-hmm.
So they know exactly how to do it, and they're the professionals, and hire the licensed and bonded contractors, hire those type of workers. They're going to know how to do it. They got insurance to cover their ass. And then we can also get inspections, like we have city inspections, or we can get third-party inspections and stuff like that if you really don't know and you feel really uncomfortable. So I tell some of my students, because they're all new builders.
Yeah.
Not all of them, but I would say like 85 to 90% are complete, 100% new builder, new to real estate.
Right.
So they don't know much. So I'm like, hey, if you don't feel too comfortable, because I get it. I remember when I first built my home and I was like, luckily, I partnered with somebody. He knew a little bit more than I did, so I was just kind of like relying on him to know what to do. But I was just there, kind of soaking it up as a sponge. But I was like, I was taking pictures of everything, like any paint cans, any materials. I was just like, I don't even know what none of this shit is. I remember he would be like, hey, go to Home Depot and get like a 90, PVC. Fuck, I'd be in Home Depot for 2 hours trying to find out. I had no clue what I'm doing, and And he, you know, you call him, he's like, dude, it's right there in the plumbing aisle. I'm like, fuck, I don't know what the fuck.
That's awesome.
Like, I have no clue.
But yet you're developing multi-million-dollar houses.
Exactly.
So that just goes to show that, you know, anybody with the mindset and the willingness to change and grind and drive,
Yeah.
you know, can do.
And that's what's so cool about the new construction stuff. You know, when I got into it, I noticed that, hey, we're hiring the professional subcontractors. You know, we're hiring the framer. We don't need to know that. Like, he's going to frame it according to code, because also we're going to have the inspection that he has to pass in order to get his check.
Yeah.
So same thing goes for mechanical, electrical, plumbing. Now, obviously, like painters, like, yeah, I can probably paint this wall, and, you know, I could paint some stuff. But definitely for those type of trades, you know, foundation, framing, and all the MEPs, like, they're professionals. They do this every day, all day, and they have to pass inspection in order to even get paid. So that's why I like new construction, because we don't need to know it. When we're not gonna know. I don't want to know it. I don't want to know how to tape mud. I mean, the process doesn't look fun, you know.
No.
I just want to know how to write the check.
There you go.
And hire the pro that's going to do a really good job. Plus, they've been doing it for years and years and years. Even if I knew how to do it,
Couldn't do it as good as them.
I couldn't do it as good as them. And I'm only one person. What I'm going to do, build one house? No, I got 18 projects I'm building right now, you know, all over $5 million. So
In different states and different,
states. It's like, I can't do all that.
100%.
So I never wanted to learn how to do it, you know. I wanted to learn how to manage and hire the correct professional in order to do it correctly.
I think that's the key. Then one of the things I've learned too, it's, you know, obviously I mean, we've been in business for 3 years at Alliance, and it's not me. Like, it's a we thing. Like, there's no big I's or little U's. We're all like a piece of the puzzle that puts it together. Exactly. Like, we have our job. Like, I go make sure that these guys got work to do so that we can keep food on their tables and stuff like that. They perform the work. So would you say that that's the same for you, that you're hiring like key guys to kind of manage and run your jobs? That
Yeah, exactly. My job is to keep the pipeline full. You know, I want to continue to underwrite deals, find good deals that are going to be profitable for, you know, me and my family, and then going to put enough work on the table for everybody else, right? So that's my job. As long as my pipeline is full, we're going to hire out all the subs to get the job done, execute, sell, profit, and keep it moving.
So you go from start to finish. You're finding the deal. You're underwriting it, building it, and selling it.
Yeah, I do basically everything. I'll find the deal, I'll underwrite it, I'll be in contact with the lender, I'll get the loan for it, I'll design it with the architect, submit it for permitting, get the permits, deal with construction, hire out all the subs, and then once we get it built, we toss it to the realtor, and then the realtor lists it or stages it, you know, gets photos taken, and they deal with selling it. I don't have my real estate license because I'm a 2-time convicted felon, and I tried to get it. They wouldn't give it to me.
It was frowned upon, huh?
Yeah. Well, I was on parole back then. So when I got out of prison, I was still on parole for 2.5 years, and I went to try to get my real estate license then, and they denied me. And then I started developing and making way more money than realtors, and I was like, well, fuck, I don't need my real estate license.
Just have somebody sell it for you.
Exactly. So then my fiance, you know, she sells them.
Nice.
I keep all the money back in the family.
That's right. That's awesome.
Yep.
Now, so obviously you have a lot of knowledge. Like, you've gained a lot of knowledge in this aspect. Like, how did you get to that point where you just were like, I'm doing this? Like, I'm like, what?
You know, I didn't actually set out to be a builder. I didn't think I was going to be a builder ever in my life when I got out of prison. I actually was going to get into commercial and do something called value add or repositioning multifamily properties. That's what I really studied mostly while I was in prison, was commercial real estate. And so when I got out, I was like, in order to do like value add or repositions, you have to do a lot of construction on the units. So you would buy them in like a, you know, D or C area that's moving up to a B area, and then you would remodel them, put better finishes in, raise the rents, and then the net operating income would raise, which would increase the valuation of the commercial building. That was like the whole game when I was going to get out. So in order to get into that, I needed some money. Well, I didn't have any money. I had $150 when I got out of prison. So the easiest way for me to get into real estate, I figured, was a flip. So that's when I bought my first flip property. I was out of prison maybe like, I don't know, 2 months maybe. I got my first flip property. I ended up borrowing the money from friends and family. And flipped it. I had my buddy kind of hold my hand throughout it. He had already flipped 2 homes on the same street, so he kind of helped me with this third one. I paid him a wholesale fee. He actually found it. I gave him $8,000 for a wholesale fee. I didn't even know what a wholesale fee was. I was like, bro, $8,000? Like, what the fuck? You're like my boy. You know what? Why am I getting $8,000
on a house? Yeah.
I mean, $8,000 to me was like fucking. I was like, man, I can do a lot with this. You know, I got $150. I probably spent that within like 10 minutes. Being out. Actually, I don't think I ever spent it. I don't even know where the check went, but I probably did. Got a phone and shit. Anyway, so yeah, I paid him $8,000. Ended up doing that first flip, made like $53,000. Plus, I paid back friends and family, and then I borrowed again and did another flip. So that was how I got into real estate. Well, the second flip that I bought, I borrowed the money again, bought the second flip, because I was like, I just made $53,000. I was like, fuck, this works. You know what I mean? I was out of prison like 4 or 5 months. I had 50 grand now. Yeah. That was like pretty quick, you know? So now I got 50 grand. I was like, fuck, this works pretty good. And so what do you do when something works? You do it again. So I did it again. And I bought another flip. Well, that flip ended up turning into my first new construction property, because the whole street was being built out into these 4-story townhomes overlooking downtown. And so I owned one of these lots. It was an old crack house. I was going to put $75,000 into it, and I was going to try to sell it for more. And then once I started seeing all these homes go up and I started talking to the other builders, I was like, what are y'all building? They showed me this rendering, and it was a 4-story modern townhome, like fresh out of Miami. Oh yeah. I was like, that's fucking awesome. I was like, that's what I want to build. Fuck this thing. I want to build that. And so he was building it right next to me. And I'm like, yeah, I own this one. Well, let me build that. I want to build that. And so that's when I kind of went down that rabbit hole of like interviewing builders, figuring out how to build, do what I need to do, hard money. You know, I didn't really know anything about hard money at the time. And yeah, man, I ended up getting it done. That first guy that helped me with the flip, I said, hey, help me with this one. Let's figure out how to do this. I already own the land, but I don't want to flip this. I want to build new. And so he had never built new construction before, but he was like, yeah, man, I think we can do it. I mean, they're all doing it. Everybody's doing it, you know. And I paid the same price for the land, so I know that it's possible. Yeah. So yeah, I figured it out, ended up building that one. It was a duplex, and then ended up buying the one next to me and the one next to me, and I built 3 duplexes, so 6 units total. And once I started selling that is when I noticed the profits of new construction. Yeah. And I was like, holy fuck, like, you know, we're making like 6 figures each one that these sell. I ended up making like $500,000 on those 6. Wow. And I was like, fuck. So I kind of forgot about the commercial at that point, you know, because I started making this money like this, and I went from 53 on a flip, and then I went to $500,000 on new construction. So I'm like, fuck, I'm gonna get.
Ideally, it's the same thing you were looking at with the commercial with the redevelopment, right? So you just took a smaller house and created a bigger house.
It's a value add, right? Exactly what I was doing. So. And it's all sort of value adds, but you know, once you get into commercial, you're playing with bigger numbers because multiple units and stuff like that. But also, it costs a lot to get into. So I could do it now, but now I got into this new construction. And I started making 6 figures on each one, and then I was doing 1 million, 2 million, 3 million, and now I'm doing 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 million. So
bigger houses, more profit.
Then I started figuring all this out, like. Well, the profits are all basically the same. They're all like 20 and 30% of whatever I'm building. So if I'm building, $1 million home, I'm going to make $200 to $300. If I'm building a $10 million home, I make $2 to $3 million. It's all pretty relative. So I'm like, as I got better and better and better at building, and I started understanding it more and more and more, I kept increasing the value of the home I was building.
Leveling up.
Yeah, exactly. So I've just been enjoying my growth, honestly. I haven't really thought much about going into commercial or anything like that. Right now, we're at almost 100 million in the pipeline, and I'm enjoying the levels that I'm going to. So we got a bunch of $8 million homes. So now I want to get out here in Miami. The one out here in Miami is like 6.5 million. I want to get it to like 15 and 20 on the water. And yeah, I think after that, then I will maybe get into commercial, right? I mean, I can only go so high. Yeah. I don't want to build $100 million single family
That's
homes.
Like my background.
You know what I mean?
Mostly in the commercial side. We have a residential division, but I mean, it's cookie cutter, production builder homes. So it's not.
And you can make money doing that, but you got to do mass.
Volume.
It's like Amazon.
100%.
You got to do mass. And that doesn't. It's not. sexy to me. I want to do the sexy stuff, like the
I like big concrete pumps in the air. I like 77 concrete trucks dumping concrete out. You know, we're doing a 74,000 cubic yard import right now in Delray Beach. It's like if I'm not doing at least 150 loads of dump truck loads of dirt on that job a day, then we're not doing nothing. So,
but we're talking about legacy, you know, and so that's the name of the podcast,
yes,
man.
Sir.
And I see myself going into the commercial, and I do want to build myself a big tower. You know, that's kind of next. But I'm enjoying my ride right now, man.
Yeah.
I really am. I'm at 100 million, and I want to get to 400 million. I want to get a bunch of waterfront in Miami or, you know, South Florida, and still keep a bunch in Texas. And yeah, go to 400 million, 500 million. Who knows? Maybe $1 billion in sales one day. Probably one day sooner rather than later. And then probably build tower and stuff. I don't know.
So what do you see for what would you say would be the out or the retirement phase where would you see yourself? Obviously you're young still.
Still young, 42. I've accomplished a lot since I've been out of prison. You know, been out of prison like 6 years, and so I just think in my head, if I've been able to accomplish this much in 6 years, and I didn't know shit, what about now all the stuff that I know in the next 6 years? So I'll be like 40, you know, whatever, 8. I mean, I'll probably be pretty up there at that point. So
you got a passion for something, you don't, you know.
Yeah, and retire, it's like, I enjoy it.
Yeah.
I like working. I don't want to fucking sit around and do nothing. I really like working, and I'm addicted to growth. And I feel like very depressed if I'm not growing or progressing that day. So that's why I constantly have to, because if not, I get depressed, and I feel like I'm back in prison just like staring at the walls. I mean, I was in there for so long, just like staring there, like, fuck, please, praying, just please let me out of this place. Like, I want to work. I want to be so busy that my phone does not stop ringing, and like, as you can see, it constantly goes off. I mean, 26 notifications while I'm sitting here. I mean, that's what I want, right? And that's what I like.
That's the way I am, man. If the plate ain't full, I'm not functioning properly. And
so,
what do you think that stems from? What do you think? Is it just from?
Like I said, I've always been a hustler since I've been young, and I've always made a lot of money. And then I got set down for so long, 7.5 years. I was just sitting there, and I was just like, "Get me the fuck out of here! I want to work." And then I get out. I'm like, "All right, it's go time." And then I felt so far behind from everybody, right? I got out at 35. Everybody in their 30s, 35, mid-30s, they already got families. They already got a position and career, you know. They already started their business when they were 20s, you know. So they got things going. So I'm like, fuck, I'm here with $150, not a pair of underwear. I don't own nothing.
Yeah.
You know, just the big baggy shit you saw on the Instagram reel that I was walking out that they gave me. And so I just felt so far behind. So I was just like, I put my head down and I just fucking focused on this, like figuring out this real estate shit. And then once I started figuring it out, like it just never stopped. I got addicted to it. And then that's what I'm saying. I'm addicted to the progress, and I'm addicted to the growth. And if I don't feel like I'm growing, I'm dying.
I can identify with that big time, because it's almost like you see that. I've always kind of felt like I was unique. Like, I don't know, not different than anybody else, but not or better, but like I was just always trying to figure out the next grind of how to get to the next step. Like, most people are like, oh, I'm on a roller, I'm just going to be on this roller now. Like, I'm on the roller, I'm like, what's next? Bulldozer, excavator, foreman.
Exactly.
So like, and then you just get you're hungry for the next step. You're hungry for, like you said, commercial. Whereas I'm a tower, like you already got that in your mind, and very similar mindset to me was as far as like, man, if I've done this much in this amount of time, imagine the next 5 years.
Yeah.
And
and plus we're probably competitors, with competition. Like I drive in competition, I wrestled
played
in high
sports,
school, got in a lot of fights, I know you've had a lot of fighters on the podcast, so maybe it stems from that. It's just, I like to compete, and I don't like to lose. And
I think it's competing with yourself too, because it's, for me, like, how can I do better on the next job than I did on this one? So, and it's a passion, man. Like I see how good I am at what I do, and I'm like, man, I'm not meant for anything else. This is like my purpose. This is what I'm supposed to do. Yeah. And it's work, but it's still a purpose, right? You're helping other people. You're giving them work. Right. You're putting food on their tables. You're employing subcontractors. Your wife's selling houses, right? And so it all kind of comes together, and you're helping more people than you think, and it's like a butterfly effect. So,
and it's cool, because I never set out to be a teacher or a coach or a mentor or anything like that. Shit, I was looking for that when I got out. And then, once I started figuring out and scaling up and growing and learning more knowledge, people just started coming to me and asking, man, how'd you do it? Like, what the fuck? How are you doing what you're doing?
Yeah.
And so that's when I was like, you know what? I think I'm gonna start teaching people. And then I hosted that first mastermind. It was wildly successful, and I really enjoyed the process, And so I just kept hosting them, and then that morphed into mentorship, and then I really enjoy teaching my students because I vividly remember that moment when I got released from prison, and I just was so lost still. And I was like, I had a direction and a plan, but God obviously had a bigger plan.
Yeah.
And so I just keep putting one foot in front of the other and moving, and things continue to happen. And I started teaching and coaching, and it's like the purpose now I feel like is that's what I'm here to do, is give back. I don't think you can
keep it without giving it away.
Exactly. Yeah.
Because you start absorbing so much where you're like you said, man, like I was 300 pounds. People watch me lose 100 pounds and change my body physique, and they're like, "How did you do that?" So
and the world.
I never wanted to be a fitness anything that had to do with fitness. I just wanted to I didn't want to die at 40,
Yeah. And the world needs it, man, because the world is lost.
100%, man.
They're lost.
And going back to the coaching thing too, because I've kind of stepped into that realm and kind of just out of like default, right? Just from being successful, doing well, and never thought I would want to do it. I enjoy helping people, but like now it's come to a point where like my plate is so full, and it's like, man, I want to help everybody. Like I truly do. But like my time is valuable. So like I have to create that kind of boundary where it's like, listen, I can help you, but it's got to be, for this. Right.
Yeah.
And
I feel like, I'm a builder. That's what I do is I build, and now I'm building people. And so I still get the same enjoyment out of building somebody that doesn't know anything and then creating them into somebody that knows all these skills. And then they go off and they profit all this money, and they're like, holy shit, just like I did. I got out, didn't have any skills. I read a bunch of stuff. I knew what I wanted to do. And then I started building houses, and I was actually building myself at the same time. And now, you can put me anywhere on this planet, and I'll be able to make money through construction or building homes or something like that, which I remember vividly sitting on my bunk in prison, and I was like, man, what am I going to do? Like, I was scared. I was like, I might be getting released soon. I don't know what I'm going to do. Like, is it going to work? Not going to work? I might have to go back selling drugs. It's like you don't want to, because that's like 85% of the people in prison just in and out, because they can't get out of the cycle.
Yeah.
And they're stuck in that cycle. And I knew that. I read so many self-development books. And if anybody out there is in prison, man, focus on yourself. Read the self-development books. Try to learn and rewire your brain, because I know the people in there are not doing it. So the ones that do it are the ones that are going to stay out. And it's so much of a better life not fucking being stuck into that criminal cycle. I'm telling you now. So read the self-development books. The big ones for me were Tony Robbins. He changed my life. I read a bunch of his books. Robert Kiyosaki. He gave me like the financial literacy that I know now. And then whatever it is you want to do, whatever industry it is you want to do, read a bunch of stuff in that. I mean, you'll never have more time as you do now if you are in prison. And if you're not in prison, I still say, read the books, listen to the podcast, watch the YouTubes. You have so much access to everything. You don't have no excuses not to be a better person.
100%. Yeah. So the rehabilitation, utilizing it for the rehabilitation.
Yeah.
I do jail and prison ministry, and that's what we go in and we're trying to give a message to these guys like, yo, use this for what it is. Take this time and let it be valuable. Don't play cards. I mean, that was the biggest thing for me when I got out too, is like I went to this halfway house and everybody's like going back to smoking cigarettes again, and it's like, bro, you just didn't smoke.
Yeah.
Why are you gonna get out and create this habit? And they're up at the gas station picking up cigarette butts. I'm in the back room, man, reading my Bible and like looking at job applications and building my resume. And like 2 weeks into this prison ministry that I went to, like everybody's riding their bike to work and having weed eating and stuff, and I got a company truck in the driveway, you know what I mean, as a foreman. And it's like, but you have to separate yourself. It's lonely. Yeah. You can't go with the crowd, especially if you truly want to change, and that's like a big thing.
Sucks. The crowd's, like I say, so lost, man. They're so doing negative shit. It's like they're constantly doing miserable stuff. I guess misery loves company, so it's tough. But yeah, man, if you watch in the video when I was walking out of prison, man, I immediately like separated myself from the pack and like went my own direction, because I hated being trapped in there with all those people with that mindset, man. It's bad.
Yeah. So you talked about, you know, you're basically kind of like your mentors, the books you read, these guys. Have you gotten to meet any of these guys yet since you've been out?
I haven't. Nope.
On the bucket list at all, at least?
Not really.
Not really?
I read so much about them, I feel like I already know them all.
Yeah.
But I don't really look up to...
Just utilize the knowledge.
Yeah, exactly. Just utilize the knowledge. I don't really care to meet any of them. Plus, I'm just so focused on my own growth and staying in my own lane. You know, I see a lot of people getting out of different lanes and trying to do too much stuff. So real estate development is what I want to do, and I just keep focusing. And I look up to a lot of builders, I mean, I guess you could say, but only the man upstairs, man.
That's right.
That's it.
If you could go back, if you could tell, let's say, your younger self, let's say 2 years before you went to prison, what would you say to him from what you know now?
Man, 2 years before, I would say start studying real estate now. You know, I wish I could have told him 10 years before I went to prison. Like, instead of, you know, I had my own place at 17. Instead of fucking partying and hanging out with those dudes, I wish I just would have gone to the library and got all this real estate knowledge and books and utilized the YouTubes and whatever it was back then. I don't know how long that was around, but it's talking like 20 years ago. But yeah, libraries, podcasts, mentorship, coaching, get a job, you know, try to learn the trades and then go off on your own, something like that. I wish I just would have stayed focused, because if I would have started back then, I mean, fuck, I'd be...
Well, I think you see that a lot more now. Like, there's a lot more, at least maybe it's just the realm that I see it, but there's a lot of younger kids that are harnessing that, what we're talking about. And like, I wish,
and I love to see that.
I do too, man. I love like seeing these young kids, 20 years old,
not drinking,
not drinking,
awesome.
not doing drugs.
Obviously drinking led me to prison through a manslaughter charge. So yeah, not doing drugs. So yeah, I would definitely tell all the youngsters out there, man, don't drink, don't do drugs, and pick something that you're passionate about, and fucking don't deviate and just go all in, and you're gonna make so much money. You can make money and whatever, right? He's doing horizontal, I'm doing vertical. This place is doing podcast rooms, you're killing it in the podcast arena, you know?
Yeah.
So you just dive in and don't get distracted by the drugs, the drinking, the women, all the dumb shit. So
with that being said, you know, do you think that had you have started earlier on with learning all of that stuff, you think you would still have the same kind of mindset, or would, you know, because I say for myself, like, I had a rough life, man. I beat my head up against the wall multiple times, but had I not gone through that, I don't think I would be who I am today. Yeah. So how do you feel about that?
You know, I'm a strong believer that everything happens for a reason, right? So I had to go through it in order to be where I am today. And maybe today isn't why I went through it. Maybe it's 20 years from now. I don't know. You know, maybe I'm going to save somebody 20 years from now that I was supposed to save in order to go through all that stuff. I don't know. You know, it's not my plan. It's God's plan.
Yeah.
And so I just continue to walk, continue to do the right thing, and enjoy my time on earth.
And that makes sense too, because like you said, I mean, I asked you, what would you say to yourself? But ideally, like, what we're doing here is to spread hope and spread awareness and to try to help the next generation, right? So
yeah.
if you could receive the advice that he just gave you and that we're trying to, you know, portray here, is that, like, do it now. Don't beat yourself up against the wall.
Yeah.
Like, I tell my 15-year-old son, I'm like, bro, how are you going to, you know, he's just little stuff he tries to get away with. I'm like, come on, man. I did all that.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
And like, you don't have to go that route. You don't have to go the hard way. Right. And then my stepson, he's doing amazing. And it's like, he took the right path. He like waited before he got married to like have children and it just, and he has a successful painting business. Like, kid's doing great, man. And
he can take that thing to the moon, It doesn't matter what you do. As long as you focus, get rid of the distractions, learn and educate yourself on, hey, I know how to paint, but do you know how to run a business? Do you know sales? Do you know marketing?
Yes.
Do you know accounting? You have to learn and brush up on all that stuff and then hire out those key players and then really elevate everything, So constantly seek self-development in all areas of your life. And always be a student forever, lifelong student. I could always learn. I don't think I know it all. I don't think I know very much at all, honestly. So
I think that's the humble mindset you got to have too, because like I'm just trying to be better than I was yesterday, right?
Exactly.
So not having that like I know it all mentality, let my ego take over and saying, I got this, and no, it's a we thing. Like, obviously, to where you're at, you have a team. You have these guys are doing for you what you bring the pipeline, and that's how it is for my business. And it's like, we're leaders. We become leaders and didn't even realize it.
Seriously, didn't set out to mentor all these students. Like I said, I was in prison. Didn't think I would ever coach or mentor. That was like furthest thing I ever thought about. So it's crazy the way life works, So I'm just blessed and thankful and grateful for where I'm at today. And I'm excited to see the next 6 years.
That's what people like. I post a lot, like my car, and like, my wife and I were homeowners. We got, beautiful house. We're all these things that like whenever I was at my bottom, like I never thought I could dig myself out of it.
Yeah.
So like all these things that I have are a blessing, but they're icing on the cake. So of course I'm going to post, like I've dreamed about having a Porsche since I was a little kid. Like I dreamed about all these things, and it's not to like show off or be flashy, but I just want others to, and you have your haters, but then you have the other people who are like, well, keep doing it. Let's keep, So,
of course we like the nice watches and the diamonds and stuff, but you could take it all away from me right now. I could care less, right? It really doesn't matter. We drove the Senna out front. I do like driving the Senna, but a McLaren 570 is not bad also. I had that.
Yeah.
It's not that big a deal. Like, I don't really care. It doesn't make me, I'm still going to be me. So, but I am thankful for all of it. And I do a lot of this stuff, in order to inspire and motivate. I want to inspire and motivate the younger generation to not go down the same tracks, I guess, as we both did. To maybe save those souls and save those lives from not having to go through all that trouble and headache and pain, that I did and whatever, and that I felt when I was in prison. It was a lot of pain. Watching my son grow up from 2 to 9 through pictures. It was not fun. So that's why I do a lot of this stuff, but I could care less for the jewelry and the cars and everything. It's not really that big a deal.
Like you said, I think it's more for the inspiration part. And for me, like, there was some stuff in my life I always dreamed about having. So if I was a kid that dreamed about that one, how can I get there?
It's on the goal list, right? And then we check it off the goal list and we still have it. And it's like, all right, it's cool, but it loses its luster after a while.
100%. Now you talked about a little bit about your son.
Yeah.
Obviously legacy were our kids that we're bringing up. How does he feel about the construction industry?
Yeah, so like I said, I got locked up. He was 2. I got out. He's 9. I go straight to him. Like, he's with me all the time. I have 50-50 custody. He spends a lot of time with me. He's a soccer player. He's devoted to soccer. He's a sophomore in high school, but he plays on the varsity team. Super great kid. I gave him my F-250 Platinum. He wrecked it twice, so he's got a little bit of learning and driving. But super great kid, man. Love him to death. He's actually at my house. I need to get back to him. But yeah, man, proud of my son. Everything's going good with that. I think that's why I do work so hard, is to leave a legacy to him. He's gonna take on the Crutchfield name. He's still younger, so he's not like really thinking about that right now. And plus, he doesn't want for anything. Obviously, I provide everything for him, So he's just focused on school and soccer, which is what I want him to focus on.
Passion, yeah.
And then when it comes time and he's like, hey, Dad, I need to, get a job or make some money or do a career, whatever it is, he can always, follow me in my footsteps, or I'll make him a project manager and let him work his way up to building his own homes and making his own profits. Or, no telling where I'll be in the next few years, but definitely got a position for him for sure.
Yeah. It's like
we'll start him low. We'll start him low and work his way up.
Even my business partner, his kids just got out of high school. So they're like out there with shovels and like, hey, I tell the guys, I'm like, look, they're just like anybody else.
Yeah.
I
mean, he's picked up trash on the sites multiple times. So let's start putting him to work. Trying to get him to start a landscaping company right now. I made him spend all his money on like a weed eater, a blower, a mower, so he could start mowing. And because I own, a shitload of rental houses that I hate. If you do own any rental houses, I know you hate them. Don't buy them. They suck. They're a pain in my ass. I hate all of them. I was going to buy them all and put them all in Section 8. And they're the biggest headache of my entire life. Seriously. I've sold a bunch of them, and I'm selling all of them. Every one of them will be sold hopefully by the new year. That's the goal. So I got a buyer for them. But yeah, man, I fucking hate the rental houses. But anyway, I have all the rental houses, and so I told him, hey, you got a bunch of lawns you can go mow right now. Plus, I have all the new construction projects, and like your little mowing business could morph into a landscaping business that could take care of all the projects. I mean, it's like you could make millions of dollars immediately, but he's not into it right now.
He doesn't see it like that yet.
He's just not into it right now.
That's
and
how
he doesn't want for nothing. It's
everybody's like, do you know who your dad is? Like, why don't you listen to him? He's like, it's just my dad.
Yeah.
And the same deal. Like you don't want for nothing.
Yeah. How can you motivate somebody that doesn't want for nothing?
Yeah.
It's like,
But that's where, one day I know for a fact my son will be like, and it happened with my father, you know what I mean? Is it, and he's gone now, but you don't realize it till you don't have him anymore. It's like, man, everything he told me my whole life was right. He was right, so.
That's cool. I haven't seen my dad in like 6 years. I need to. When I got out of prison, I went to go see them. They live all in Oklahoma, but my aunt actually just died, so I'm going to Oklahoma on Monday for a funeral. So probably go see my dad while I'm there, but I haven't seen him since I've been out of prison. So,
wow.
Yeah.
So that'll be a good.
Yeah, it'll be cool to see all them.
Yeah. How is your team, your circle? Like, what is it that helps keep you motivated? Like for me, I have a men's group that I have, like we have a group chat. I know I have like my community that I talk to, the guys that I mentor and try to help and lift up.
Yeah.
What is it that helps keep you kind of just moving in the direction of positivity?
Just staying grateful for each day. I spent a lot of time having some really fucked up days. So when I wake up, I'm like, damn, glad I ain't in there no more. I got my beautiful fiance beside me, and she's always positive. She's the best, so she definitely keeps me motivated, hungry, keeps me in line. If I'm doing anything, she'll push me to do better and stuff like that. And then, like I said, we got my son. He's always looking up to me, so got to make sure you're moving correctly because they're always watching. So, and then, I definitely got a lot of supportive friends. I got rid of all my friends that I had prior to prison because I know the criminal cycle. The 5 friends you hang around probably going to be the average of you. And so I really, every self-development book says that. And so I was like, okay, this must be important, right? Fuck. Every self-development says.
Until you experience it and you're like, you see who you surround yourself and because that's, if I want to learn something, man, I'm going to go hang out with the guy that knows about it, right?
You're the average of the 5 people you hang around. Every book says it, and so it's very important to me. I wrote it down a bunch in my notebooks. And so when I got out, man, I didn't hang out with anybody. I didn't call nobody. I didn't let nobody. I would do research on you and figure out, like, are you doing entrepreneurial stuff? Or are you still in the streets? Are you, successful in anything right now? What are you doing? I'm not going to talk to you. Now you can just be nosy on Facebook and Instagram and figure out kind of what the people are doing. So that's another reason to create your own brand out there if you haven't done that already. Like, put positive stuff out, like what you're doing. Don't be in the club like having bottles like this or women, and do positive stuff because people are always watching. So
I think it's important to being authentic, right? Be your true self if you're posting it all over social media.
Yeah.
Like we talked about it out there. That's part of our legacy, right? If the world we live into now, we have social media, we can post content. That stuff can be seen for years. So you look at these girls that are doing OnlyFans, and grandkids are gonna be like, "Yo, you see Aunt Susie?" You know, and when she's 70,
Exactly.
I mean, they're taking, listen, do your thing.
Yeah,
but
whatever.
you know,
Whatever.
just remember that it's still gonna be there.
Whatever
So,
makes you happy. But yeah, definitely think twice.
but so you know, we talked about it in the waiting room out there. Is it like with Charlie Kirk? You know, love him or hate the guy who, you know, whoever you are in America or whatever. But this guy, you know, left a legacy. You know, now that he's no longer with us, that, you know, his kids will never get to see him grow up. So he flooded social media with content, and like that's where, like, you know, my purpose, I believe, is to do that, to help hear stories like yours. You know what I mean? Like doing what I'm doing now has helped to hear a bunch of people's stories and get their stories out, right?
Exactly.
And we can put that on social media. We can, our grandkids are going to be able to see it and say, hey, there's Grandpa Eric, you know, killing it in the game of development.
He's a developer. You know, look at all his content. He's teaching, he's giving, he's sharing, he's providing value. He's not out here acting a ruckus and, you know, doing dumb shit constantly.
We had my sister passed away a year ago in October. She was young, 50. She died of cancer.
Damn.
And it was kind of like a big deal because, I mean, my spiritual background since I got out of jail and stuff, like I've moved in that direction, and it's the last thing I tried and the first thing that worked for me to just feel peace and joy, you know, and I was the only one at her funeral that was able to pray, you know, and since then, like, you see that, like, she had 6 kids, so like each one of her kids is like kind of just reached out to me subconsciously, like, yo, how do I do that? What do I, you know, because they watched me get beat up by the cops, you know, and I was running, getting, you know, they watched them pull me over, rip me out the car, and beat me at the side of the house, and to be where I am today is, you know, it's powerful, and it's cool. That's why, like I said, the legacy and having that stuff, having that video of you getting out of jail. You know, I have mugshots. My mom, I just had celebrated 6 years without doing drugs or alcohol.
Nice, congratulations.
And she's like, oh yeah, look at this. She had a folder in her phone of me like knotted out and like all this time that I did drugs, and
they're always watching. I told you.
And like when I wrecked my truck, I wrapped my truck around a pole, almost died multiple times, man. But God spared me for a reason. Yeah. And but just to see that stuff and like see where we've come, it's because we would like to be humble, right? We don't want to be like give ourselves pats on the back.
If not, God's gonna humble you.
Get humble or get humiliated.
Might be why I tore my bicep. Who knows?
But you're recuperating. You're almost back in the game.
We're about 7 weeks. Haven't worked out in about 11 weeks. I hate it, man. I love working out.
Me too, man.
We're about almost there, man. Another 2-3 weeks, we'll be back in the gym. So.
Nice. That's my woosah time.
Yeah, same here.
Early in the morning, I'm at the gym, and
some people go get massages and therapy sessions or whatever.
Get their nails and hair. Yeah, exactly.
We'll go work out.
So I switched it up too because I had a little tear in my forearm. I just now I'm gonna have the biggest legs on the planet in the next 6 weeks.
I barely could walk in here. I just did legs back to back. Like, fuck.
So tell us what's next for Eric Crutchfield.
What's next, man? I've talked a little bit about it. So I definitely want to create a ton of multimillionaires through real estate development, through my program, Builder Accelerator program. I enjoy it. And also I want to show the path though, right? I mean, I've accomplished a lot of stuff, but I really want to be a huge inspiration and be like, damn, he started from prison to building, to doing a flip, to doing the duplexes, to doing the single family homes, to doing the super luxury single family homes, to building the towers, to, you know, whatever it is, right? So I'm obviously want to be a leader in my space and continue to push the envelope of what I can do for myself, right? And me and my family, my legacy. So I'm going to continue to grow, you know.
And what does that look like with your program? How can people find that?
You can follow me on Instagram, Eric Epic 23, also YouTube, Eric Epic 23. There's links on there that you can click, schedule a call with my team. We'll tell you all about the program. We got, 3 levels of it. So join, schedule a call. We'll tell you everything about the program, how it works, but basically I'll mentor you. If you have bad credit, I'll help you fix your credit. If you don't have any down payment, I'll help you get the down payment through business funding. And if you don't know any real estate knowledge or construction experience, don't worry, it's what you have me and my team for. So we'll help you from A to Z in real estate development. super easy, man. We've had tons and tons of successful students now. The program was a little bit young. You know, it takes 9 to 12 months to actually build a house, sell it, get the profits. So now we've had the program for about a year, and now we got students sold, made money, made tons of money. So got a bunch of students just listed their home. We got tons and tons of students now. So we have testimonials for days. So reach out to me, message me, whatever you want to do, and I can help you.
Awesome. And we'll post those links too.
Yeah.
But man, that was an amazing story, and I'm glad we got to chop it up with in the construction stuff.
Yeah, man.
We're definitely gonna post some links to get connected to him and his message and the coaching. But that's all the time we have today. I want to thank you guys for tuning in again for episode number 6. And thank you again, Eric, for being here and sharing what got you through to get to your legacy, where you're at, the path you're on now, man.
I appreciate what you're doing, putting God first. You know,
yes, sir.
So keep it up. I love it.
Yeah, man. Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
All right.